Well, I can clearly remember the launch of the B-Class a couple of years ago. It was in hot and humid Miami. Very different conditions from what we're experiencing today. We're here in Montreal. Overnight it went down to about minus 25 degrees and warming up to maybe the mid-minus teens. We're driving the car here on an ice course that's actually the old rowing facility from the '76 Olympic Games, then heading out into the countryside. Why would they have the launch in Miami a few years ago and now in Quebec? Well, Quebec, they're showcasing this car with its latest feature. That's Mercedes-Benz 4Matic all-wheel drive. Classic winter conditions for this latest Mercedes-Benz. Now, the great thing about this program on this frozen water here is we got lots of snow on top of sheet ice, and we get to drive the cars with the electronic stability program on and with it off. So I'm going through a slalom course now, and the wonderful thing about this all-wheel drive system is even though the electronic stability program is off, the car is very predictable. You can get the back end to come out on you in a very controlled fashion, and if you modulate the throttle and maybe just tap the brake once in a while, you can get it to slide in a very controlled pace. And if you know what you're doing and you know how to drive, it actually is a lot of fun. But that's not what Mercedes-Benz is really trying to show. Well, obviously they want to showcase the abilities of their all-wheel drive system, but they also want to showcase how safe these vehicles are with the stability program on. Okay, here we go with the electronic stability program on. Now, we could get the back end to swing out really quite nicely, and you get quite a bit of understeer. And yes, there is a little bit of understeer. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned, underneath this snow is sheet ice, but really way less dramatic and much, much safer, of course, in an emergency situation. So this part here at the end is sheet ice, and you know, the car is going very lightly. Can you hear it? And that's the stability and traction control working together to make sure that you get everywhere safely. Now, winter tires make a huge, huge difference, and they're mandated here in the province of Quebec, and I think they should be in many other parts of Canada, but winter tires are your first defense for winter driving, and then all-wheel drive and all of these electronic aids definitely make it much, much safer. A lot of people might not be aware that the B-Class shares the same platform, engine, and now the all-wheel drive system with two other products in the Mercedes-Benz family. So you've got the CLA, that's the coupe-like car, and the GLA, their new crossover. But the beauty of the B-Class is it's less expensive, but it has all the same kind of running gear. So it's a 2-liter direct injection turbocharged engine with 208 horsepower, but 258 foot-pounds of torque. And the torque and the horsepower really are perfect for this size of vehicle. They're actually quite good even for the GLA, the crossover version. So what you have it running through is a 7-speed dual-clutch box, and now available is the 4Matic all-wheel drive system. There is a bit of a weight penalty. It's 40 kilograms heavier to get the all-wheel drive system, but a lot of people will take that trade-off because it has the added security. Now, this is what's called a slip and grip system, meaning it's a front-wheel drive bias system. It wants to run on front-wheel drive as much as possible to save fuel, and will send power to the rear wheels in a nanosecond because of the sensors with the all-wheel drive system and the traction control. There's a clutch pack at the back in the rear differential that activates it really in a nanosecond. You have the benefit of the front-wheel drive fuel economy with the advantage of the all-wheel drive traction. Now, it doesn't send 100% of the power to the rear wheels. A 50-50 torque split is what you get, but it really does feel quite good in the snow here in Quebec, and that's the #1 reason that people buy these vehicles. About 90% of all of the people that go into a Mercedes-Benz dealership buy the car with all-wheel drive or 4Matic, and I suspect it'll be no different with this B-Class. Now, one thing I want to point out that it really makes a difference if you're interested in buying any of the three vehicles, the B-Class, the CLA, or the GLA. The suspension really is quite different in the CLA. It's a bit choppy, you sit lower to the ground. This car a bit more upright, and you have a much more pliable suspension. In addition, for 2015, you get a new steering wheel, a new head unit, a new screen, a larger screen than the previous B-Class, making this product feel much more upscale and polished than even the one just from 2 years ago. You know what, I think the smart money is on this car, the B-Class. You think about it. It shares the same platform with the CLA and the GLA crossover vehicle, has the same engine, and is now available with the same all-wheel drive system, but is much less expensive. And on the inside, the interior, the dashboard, is relatively identical. Think about the pricing now. It starts at $31,300 for the front-wheel drive B250. Now the all-wheel drive system is just $2,200 more. A couple of packages to consider. The premium package is $3,800 and the sport package is $1,500. But standard equipment now is the new fascia of this B-Class. You've got new lower spoiler, even though this one looks like it's been used as a snowplow. A new grille, accent lines down the side of the car, and a new wheel package as well. That's all standard equipment. So the smart money, I really do believe, is on this B-Class. It's very functional for a family or as a second vehicle as well. The price is right on the money. You start adding on those features, it gets a little bit expensive, but if you keep your eye on the features, this car is still good value.